Hello. So when I did my art haul video the other day and I was trying out a paintbrush, I thought, oh, this paintbrush feels nice, like it might be nice for calligraphy. So I got it out today, and then I ended up going through all my brushes and having a good old play with brushes, and then doing some calligraphy with this new paintbrush. And then I kind of fell down a rabbit hole and ended up getting all of this stuff out, which is all brush pen calligraphy related stuff. So I thought I'd just do a little video, which might end up being more than little, um, just playing with some of my calligraphy products, but also showing you the paintbrush that I got and how I would use it doing calligraphy with watercolours. So this is the brush that I was talking about that I got recently from Jackson's. It's the Jackson's Artica Toray white synthetic brush, and this one's size 6. I tried it with some watercolours and it was okay, but I've got watercolour brushes that I would prefer, that I'd probably reach for first. But when I was using it, I did think, oh, actually, this has got a nice spring in it that probably work well with calligraphy. So there are 3 things that I like if I'm going to do calligraphy with a brush. Actually, let me just show you this. This is my lovely little mixing palette. I've just got some Winsor & Newton aqua green. I'm just getting nice and fluid. My family at Christmas went charity shopping all together to get each other fun gifts, and this is something I came across in one of the charity shops for £1, which I think is fabulous. But yeah, with brushes for calligraphy, I like them to have a good amount of spring so that the bristles hold together well, like on the upstrokes. I like them to have a fine point so that your upstrokes are quite slender, and I like them to be able to hold a fair bit of water, so you're not constantly running out of paint in the middle of a wide brush stroke. So let's have a little look at this one. So reasonably thin upstroke. Holds the water nicely for a big fat downstroke. And it's got a bit of spring, which means I'm not getting my upstrokes at this point, at the bottom of letters where you're going from the downstroke to the upstroke. That's often where the bristles can splay out and make things a bit messy. So for comparison, here's a silver black velvet brush, which I like for watercolouring. You can get a lovely fine point with it. It's good at holding water, but it doesn't have the same spring. So nice fine stroke, holds plenty of water. But the bristles are very soft. So when I get to I have more irregularities when I get to, I have more irregularities on the strokes. The bristles aren't as predictable and end up with more uneven lines. So yeah, well, this is a lovely brush. It's less suited for calligraphy. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who do beautiful calligraphy with something like this, but I just like things to be easy. I'm just a hobby calligrapher who doesn't really spend much time on it. And then just as one other comparison, this is Betty Hayway's brush, which is really nice for watercolour. And this is quite good springiness, quite good at holding water. But I can't, without trying really hard, I can't get as fine a point on the upstrokes. And actually, it's not holding water as well as I would like either. It's given up halfway through the downstroke. Yeah, that's not sorry, some of that's just my rubbishness, not the brush. Okay, I'm struggling with that. So yeah, this new Toray brush was really nice. So while I was looking at brushes this morning, I was having a go with lots that I haven't looked at for a while, and I thought, ooh, I wonder which of the brushes would be good for smaller lettering. And I found that the one I liked best, I've not tried before, for calligraphy is the ProArt ProLean, and this is size number 1. And again, it has some of the same qualities that I like. So heaps of water on the downstroke, nice and thin, springs quite nicely. Obviously with a thinner brush, with a smaller brush, it's not going to hold the same amount of water as the larger brushes. Yeah, so that was just a little thing on brushes. So that's what I'd got out this morning just to play with. But then I was like, oh, do you know what? I really fancy getting all my calligraphy stuff out. So I thought I would show you some of the other brush lettering supplies that I have, and some of them are watercolour related as well. The first thing I got out were the Ecoline brush pens. I think these are absolutely gorgeous to work with, and they have a really lovely range of colours. Here's my tub of them. They do some lovely light colours for under washes, for pencil drawings or anything really. I think the only downside to them is I don't think they have light fast ratings. I'm not sure how light fast they are, but for brush lettering they're really, really nice. So so they are super juicy pens. You can see like I don't know how this will work. You can see the intensity of the ink towards the top of the letters where I'm putting greater pressure on, and how it drops away when it's lighter. I really like that. The only thing with that, with the amount of juiciness, it does mean that you've kind of got to get the lettering quite good, because if you end up fiddling around correcting upstrokes, then you end up getting darker ink at the bottom, and then it won't match the other upstrokes. another brush pen that I really like is the Winsor Newton watercolour markers. Let me see if you can. I think these have got absolutely wonderful nibs as well for doing brush and lettering, but they're also brilliant for watercolouring. I took just these on a holiday one year. They've also got pigment information and light fast information. So I took these on holiday one year, and I just have like a little plastic bit of sheeting. I think I cut it off some packaging. And yeah, you just use it exactly as you would with watercolours. So yeah, they're lovely pens. They do make quite a broad stroke as well. So yeah, again, you've got to kind of watch. You're not going to want to go back to make corrections too much because of how juicy they are and the colour gradient difference that you get. The other nice thing with these pens that kind of re-wet really nicely is that you can do gradients with them. So I was looking through a load of old stuff this morning, so I was wondering what was on the back. There's some rock paintings on the back. So one thing you can do is do the top of the letter with one colour, the bottom of the letter with another colour, and then, like this one's probably better, blend them in and get that nice effect. But yeah, they're a lot of fun to play with. What else did I get out? Okay, the Tombow markers. I don't like them as much for lettering, really, just because there's nothing wrong with them. I just prefer the other two. Yeah, they're perfectly standard, good brush pens. And again, the Tombow are great for using as watercolours. They work nicely. I can remember I was on Karen Burniston's design team. She makes brilliant interactive like pop-up card dies, and we did a collaboration as part of her design team, and Tombow sent us some pens, and it was the first time I'd used them, and yeah, I had a great time with them, using them as paints and everything. That was before I'd bought any paints of my own then. So it is a nice way to use these markers. Another nice marker that I highly rate is the Karin Brush Marker Pros. And one Christmas, my husband bought me, whoops, sorry, I'm too close. My husband bought me the whole big set, which was lovely. But these have also got really nice nibs. I rate them really highly. They're firm enough to they're firm, they're nice and juicy, they hold the points well. I'd say that the Eco line and the Winsor & Newton watercolour markers, a kind of similar kind of width and similar in the way in their usage and juiciness and everything. And I'd say that the Tombow and the Caran brush markers are the next width down, but I definitely prefer the Caran brush markers, I think, to the Tombow for calligraphy purposes. And then the other thing that I got these last Christmas, not the one just gone, before. I got these are Caran Deco brush. So the previous ones, these Brush Marker Pros are water-soluble, water-based inks. And the Pigment Deco brush are like acrylic inks inside them. And I got really excited when I saw them because I was like, oh, I can do, I don't know, I thought having, the waterproof ink would be great. Though actually I've not really used them a whole lot this year, but they are nice brushes. Right, they need to be shaken, these ones do. I've mainly used them for decorating envelopes and sending them in the post to people. I think one of the reasons I haven't turned to them as much is that for doing calligraphy, the juiciness kind of runs out more. So you can see on the, I don't know if you can see, where are we? Yeah, on the less pressure areas, it's like the ink runs out a bit. And these, well, this is probably only the second time I've used this pen, so it's not a case of it running out. It's just kind of how the flow comes through. I mean, the finish on the ink is absolutely lovely, but I think maybe for calligraphy, the ink's a little bit too thick and pigmented. The other thing is that obviously I'm using this on watercolour paper, so it's probably much less suited. They've been writing better than this on thin envelope paper. And actually, another nice paper for doing calligraphy, just for practicing, are the Rhodia pads. We used to go to France in the summers a lot, and I'd stock up on the Rhodia pads because they were like loads cheaper over there. So, this is just loads of bits of things I've been doing. I remember this. I think recovery from anything is honestly the most badass thing a person can do. I think I'd seen that quote somewhere, and at the time I was stuck in bed recovering from a hysterectomy, and I got a big C-section type scar and everything, and that resonated with me enormously because the first few days afterwards were not much fun. So I just stayed in bed and did some calligraphy. Yeah, what was I? Oh, here's some examples with the Ecoline brush pens in the different colours. You can really see the difference with the heavily loaded inks. So I got this out because I was just going to try the Caran Deco brush on smoother paper to see if it would write better. Yeah, I mean, it's better. It's certainly better than the watercolour paper, but it's still kind of running out, drying up on the thin bits. Yeah, so I need to play around with these a bit more and maybe use them more in like mixed media paintings and things where I'm just using, you know, kind of smaller brush marks with them. Okay, what else have I got? The other, oh yeah, I will. And I think my favourite, so I would say that's the large, the medium, and then my favourite small calligraphy brush pens are the Pentel Foodie Touch Brush Sign Pen. Really long title. And I just I had a Birchbox subscription at some point, and reused the tubs. So they're the colours. I think over the years I've tried out loads of different small brush marker pens, but I just end up coming back to these all the time because I just think they keep their point. They keep their point really, really well, and I've used them quite a bit and they're still held up really well. Sorry, I keep doing the same word, don't I? It's a bit boring. Yeah, they're good. I've tried, like I said, I've tried lots of other brushes. This is one I tried fairly recently. The Unipin Fine Line in the brush. I like them as fine liners, and so I got the brush pen to try, and it's okay, but for someone who's not like hugely skilled like me, I don't know, I can't get the best results out of them. They just feel more flexible, but in a kind of uncontrollable way. A little bit like I was saying, the more flexible black velvet paintbrushes are. So yeah, that one's. I know what I end up liking because it's just what I naturally reach for. And one last I want to show you that I tried as well was the Uniposca brush pen. I think they're the PCF 350. Let me give it a shake first of all. Now this brush pen has got actual brush, like individual brush bristles. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. So it's an actual brush nib, and then you've got, I won't push it down because it's already quite loaded with ink. You take this cap off, and then you've got like a priming pump button there to put more ink through. So, see. Now there was an awful lot of ink on that brush tip then. I'm not sure what to make of it. It certainly doesn't act like, it's certainly not comparable to me painting with a watercolour paintbrush and watercolours when I'm doing lettering. I can't manage to get the smooth edges that I do with a watercolour paintbrush, but I'm not sure that that's the intention of it. I think it might be for I don't know, just like a different look. Let's have a look at priming it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could use these to make amazing artwork. I just don't know how. but I thought it was quite interesting anyway. And then I guess the other thing that you can do is just do calligraphy with your own normal handwriting and any instrument. So here's Albrecht Dürer watercolour pencil. I need to do a haul video because a while back I bought a load of watercolour pencils that I've not really tested out much or played around with yet, and they're all shiny and new in their boxes. So maybe I'll do a watercolour pencil video at some point. But there's nothing to stop people from doing their normal handwriting and just thickening up the downstrokes. And especially if you've got a watercolour pencil, if you've used watercolour pencil. So I'm just doing this really quickly, it's a bit messy. There's nothing to stop people having calligraphy fun just with non-calligraphy materials. Just about thickening up the downstrokes really. So the other thing that I got out this morning on my little calligraphy trip, that going back to watercolours, does relate to watercolours, is doing calligraphy with a dip pen, but with watercolour paper and watercolour paints. So this is my trusty, now let me think of the name of it. It's the Purple Pumpkin. I think it's the Bros. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it on the video when I look it up. I've tried loads of different calligraphy nibs over the years. Oops, what have I got here? These are various ones that seem quite popular, but that I've never really gotten well with, as the Purple Pumpkin. And the thing that I did with this nib, I got some of these Bros, I don't even know what they're called, Bros number 180, and they had the reservoir. They're very broad tipped, kind of traditional calligraphy nibs, but they come with reservoirs on them, and so I pinched the reservoir, this section here, I pinched the reservoir off those, and they fit quite nicely on the Purple Pumpkin nib, and that way if you're doing calligraphy you get, well, the ink just lasts for a lot longer because it's held in this little reservoir. So I'll just mix up some watercolour paint. I haven't really done this for ages, so I'm just going to get a consistency that's quite fluid, and then I'll fill up the reservoir. Get some in the nib to get it going. Actually, this calligraphy paper might not be the best paper for this really, but we'll give it a go. It's a little bit scratchy for the... So yeah, that's just that's the Winsor Newton aqua green watercolour paint that I've used as watercolour ink there. So I think that's quite good fun. It just means it opens up the whole world of calligraphy to a load of colours, you know, your entire paint collection of colours, and obviously you can mix your watercolours to any colour you want. Oops. Oh dear, I'm making a right mess. But yeah, this is a nice nib to use. It seems very reliable. I can get super fat down strokes. Shall I try zooming in? Let's try again. You can get super fat down strokes. Lovely thin up strokes. And look at that. Look how it just spreads. Manages to keep the paint flowing nicely the whole time. So yeah, that was something I thought I'd just show you quickly. Was there anything else? I don't think so, really. Oh, actually, yeah. One last product that. Okay, so I've got a couple of. So I've got Ecoline, which are the same. They're the same inks as I used in the Ecoline pens, and actually you can refill the Ecoline pens with the inks. So you don't have the light fastness information or ratings, but they're liquid watercolours that are quite fun to play with, and they work quite nicely in dip calligraphy pens as well. And then I've got some Bombay Teal India ink, which I haven't played around with India ink that much. Well, I did, but a very long time ago. I can't really remember much about it, except that this is waterproof. This is light fast and waterproof. They probably need to be. I think if I remember correctly, you don't use India ink in a fountain pen, but you can probably get away with it with a dip pen. I'll look that up and annotate the video because I'm not 100% sure that my information's all correct there. So just a quick show you what. Wait a minute, can I clean off this? No. The aqua green is staining ink, staining paint. Yeah, so that's the Ecoline ink. That's quite nice for watercolour. Let's go this Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay Teal. Oops. Yeah, it's a nice colour. Yeah, that works nicely. Let's just do one more. This is it. Ecoline 545 red violet. Okay. So yeah, that was my little rabbit hole this morning, and hope you found it vaguely interesting. I'm curious to know, because this isn't really an area of expertise. Well, not that any areas are really, but I'm curious to know which calligraphy products you really enjoy, especially if you've had much experience with you've had much success with, you know, other brush pens or anything. I'd be interested to know. But yeah, thanks ever so much for watching. Bye.